jogged at the head, whatever. You need to make cuts about 1 inch apart and about 1/8 of an inch deep all the way down. Don't be too shy. Make sure you get a decent cut because you have to sink thread into there. Okay. Now, if you're doing a bunch of these, it's very clever to, it's probably pretty clever anyway. Do we have any tape?
We ask this question each time.
Every damn week. Oh, thank you very much. The tape gets smaller and smaller. Thanks, Albie. You could do this in advance, obviously, and you should do it in advance. But let me show you. Let me show you a cool trick. About 3 inches from of the board. Okay. You're gonna love. I know you're gonna dig this. So let's make believe we haven't done anything yet. We are preparing our boards. Okay. And then we take those boards. Stuart's already got it figured out. Because he's that kind of guy. Place the whole contraption inside here. Cut, 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 cut. Miss Pa, you still with me? Lift.
Oh.
Clamp. Alright, so now...
Is that a collective epiphany?
I don't know how to describe that on paper.
That's why I'm taking a video.
Alright, so now we need some
caught that
PVA.
action shot. I caught that action shot.
We need some PVA right here. Is that the plan? Okay. And we need a nice stiff brush of a certain stiffness. Something like that will do. And then you fan it this way. Hence the term.
What was this?
Was it again double fan?
Double fan.
So you're gluing.
Gross. Oh God, come on. This small animal has fallen into the glue there. Okay. Okay, so down. And then you just stroke the glue this way. What it does, of course, is it exposes about 1/2 millimeter of paper of every single sheet to the glue. And then the reason for the double fan nomenclature is this. Imagine. And then before it all seizes up, you quickly fan it this way again. Now, ideally, you don't get guck on your flap, and then you just bring it back up and give it a squeeze. Okay. No, we're not done yet. And then you take some thread.
Is this the famous 4-ply twine?
Yes, this will be your 18, number 18 3-chord zoom zoom. Down there, and then just all the way along. And this is a very strong method.
And then do you proceed the same way with the ends of the cord?
Let me think about that. I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, in terms of
Well, have a watch and see if I do what you're thinking I'm about or won't or potentially might do. Okay, just come around the end and come back. This is why you need your doodads to be deep enough, because if they aren't, they tend to pop out.
So you're doing 2 per cut.
Yes, that's correct. So I'm not going mental here trying to tighten these up. I'm trying to make them snug, but they don't have to be insanely tight.
Right.
That's really great.
Yeah, that's so fast.
That's it. I'm gonna do that.
I will now devote my life.
Double fan.
Yes, that's right. The cult of the double fan. Oh,
Sounds very.
sounds like a Chinese restaurant.
Sounds like a Charlie Chan movie.
That's right. Okay, here we go.
You're just doing 2 on each, though, right?
There. Now snip off.
No knots required.
No knots allowed. Now I'm going to take a little more glue. Oh, I don't know if we have. Do we have any mull? I wonder if there's any mull around.
I thought I saw some too.
Is that the really loose stuff?
Yeah,
Muslin
that's sort of
type,
gauzy stuff.
loose woven.
If not, we'll cheat and we'll just show. We'll make believe mull. Oh, here's some.
It was stuck down there.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, this is great. Okay.
If anybody wants me to email this whole video to them.
This, I think, is turletin,
Here too, I
which is a reasonable substitute for mull.
What is that stuff? I bought a bunch of that stuff at the sale.
This is tarleton, I think. Tarleton is very similar to mull. Mull tends to be reinforced with extra thick, extra ribs.
Okay.
But this stuff is used for, I think, cleaning lithography plates.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Well, I use it to clean like intaglio.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Right. Not that I've ever done intaglio. I'm the faintest idea. Okay. Well, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Beg your pardon. So we've glued the spine and just put another layer of glue. Now it's time to come out. You get your mull in readiness, and then you get a pair of end papers real quick.
Hey, unobstructed view. Papers. Immediate end papers. How thick is that paper? Is it just
Sort of
regular
end
bond?
paper weight. Heavier than the text typically. Cover weights are the equivalent. Okay. End papers are tipped on. That's the only way really you can go. There are refinements to this. We could do other nonsense, but here's the fast and dirty method of attaching end papers. Right? You do 2 at once.
So is that about a millimeter in from the spine or right at the spine?
It's about a quarter of an inch in from the edge. is put over there. This one is put here.
Right. You did two at once.
Yes. And then this one is put here. And that covers up your sewing, your pseudo sewing. Right. You can give that a squeeze if, why don't we live a little and give it a squeeze. Press off a trifling amount. Give these a squeeze. Work. And papers are tipped on in the industrial sense. More adhesive. You can put it back in the press if you want. One thing you're seeing is here that these things are trying to pop out, but we'll put them all on. We'll show you as pause. Bit more glue. This could be all more profitably done in the press.
And always PVA for everything?
PVA for everything on these, yeah. And a flexible PVA at that. And then a spine liner, so I'm just going to find something suitable. Close. Quite such a hacker here. All attached. And then another dab of.
Is that the weld bond for you?
This is, but I've ceased advocating weld bond. I don't think it dries. Actually, don't think it dries flexible enough. So
just regular
another
PVA?
time, I'll bring in. That was what I meant to bring. I was supposed to bring in another thing. I was supposed to bring was Planetol.
Planetol. Is
So
that
we'll struggle along today.
that's another PVA.
It's another PVA that dries. Actually, it's manufactured for bookbinding, and it's used by the industry.
Very expensive?
It's more expensive than weld bond, but it's not insane. If you want, I can take orders. I don't think do they sell Planetol?
I don't know. I've just looked at their site, trying to remember what's on it.
It's an industrial adhesive in effect. I mean, I think it's used. I think it's probably sold by some stores. Not that I know any that sell it. But there now I'm rubbing down hard so that my cords are going back into the grooves if they've tried to squish out. There, that's it. It's over. Now you can let it dry. Trim this stuff off, or you can strip this stuff away if you want. But I sometimes leave it on. It's another board attachment. And you've got your end papers, and you just case in. Huh?
So this is an example of where you would make the case separately and then just kind of glue
Yeah,
it
this
on?
is a strictly case binding technique. Yeah, that's now. The other thing you don't do is open it up for at least a couple of hours, at least several hours.
So would you weigh it down entirely?
Yeah. Weigh it down. Let it just, or even, I wouldn't necessarily press it, but put a weight on, put a board on it, put a weight on it, walk away. Don't be tempted to open it, and then Bob's your uncle.
Great.
So for that to work, it would work better on something that has at least a certain amount of thickness in the spine. Yes?
Well, yeah, I suppose you don't, you can. I've done really thin stuff.
Oh, yeah?
You can 1/8 of an inch. You can do it. You just have to be discreet, right? Like I used a little thin. In this case, I used a bread knife, but usually I use a little teeny saw. I have this little funny Japanese saw with these little narrow teeth and a couple of zings, and it's through. And you can, and so as long as you don't, but there's no reason why you can't treat. You could treat an 1/8 of an inch, whatever.
Okay.